Welcome back for some r/am I the asshole? We have found 3 stories for you today. First story. My 32 female sister, 27 female, has always been the princess type. Ever since we were kids, she's talked about her dream wedding. Castle, a horse-drawn carriage, the kind of dress that would make Disney jealous. I always figured she'd scale things down when the time came, but now she's engaged, and honestly, she's doubling down on the whole fairy tale thing. The wedding is planned for next summer, and she's going all out. She's booked a venue that's basically a small castle, has been talking about a custom dress that's over 10,000, live entertainment, elaborate catering, etc. When I asked her how she was planning to afford all this, she casually said she's relying on a little help from family to make it happen. By family, she meant me. A couple of weeks ago, she sat me down and told me how much it would mean to her if I could help. Then she asked for about $15,000. I almost choked on my coffee. She knows I've been saving for years to buy a house and am finally getting close. I told her I couldn't give her that much, but could maybe help with a smaller amount, like 1,000 or 2,000. She was really upset and said that wouldn't even cover the deposit for the castle venue. Things got worse last weekend at a family dinner. She was going on and on about her plans, how the carriage is going to have flowers draped over it, how she's hiring a designer to do a once-in-a-lifetime dress. I don't know if it was the stress of hearing the price tags or just how casually she was talking about money she didn't have, but I snapped. I told her that her wedding plans were completely unrealistic unless she planned to go into massive debt or win the lottery. She got really quiet and started crying, then left the table. My mom and dad were glaring at me, and after dinner, my mom told me I was way out of line. She said I should have kept my opinions to myself and that I crushed my sister's dream. Since then, my sister hasn't really been talking to me. My mom keeps calling me and saying I should apologize, but I feel like I'm not wrong. Weddings are expensive, and if she can't afford this level of extravagance, isn't it better for her to realize that now instead of relying on others? I know I could have handled it better, but I feel like she put me in an impossible position. Am I the asshole? Someone commented, "Not the asshole. Your sister is a grown woman about to get married. Unless she is marrying someone very generous and wealthy, she's going to have to deal with the realities of a budget. Having lavish dreams that are unlikely to come true is part of life. Learning to cope with disappointment is important. If you still wish to help her, offer her the money you were planning on parting with in the first place. If it's a loan, be clear that it is a loan. If it is a gift, be clear that this is the gift. She will not be getting further fun money, toasters, or linens from you as a wedding gift. She will pout and cry and rage. That is her emotional state to manage." Second story. Am I the asshole for telling my fiancé her sister can't come to our wedding? My girlfriend, 32 female, and I, 28 female, have been together 5 years this year. We recently got engaged. During the planning, we were talking about whose name we would take. We decided to take my name as it would be nice to keep my family line going. When my fiancé told her family, her mom was happy for her and thought it was a nice idea. But her sister Lucy was extremely rude. She said she didn't understand why my fiancé would take my name as she is the more masculine out of our relationship, and that it's not usually how it's done. My fiancé said it's a gay wedding, it doesn't have to be traditional. Lucy then said that wasn't the only reason she didn't want her to take my name. When my fiancé asked why, Lucy said, "I don't like her." My fiancé got upset and told her we didn't like her spouse because he's not a good person and he's extremely rude, but that we put up with him because they are married. My fiancé told me all this when I got home. I was really angry at first because I don't understand how she can be so blatantly rude and ignorant. But now I feel uncomfortable someone coming to celebrate us on our wedding day that clearly doesn't support it. For background, she has not liked me since my fiancé and started dating, and I cannot understand why. She really only comes over when she know I won't be here. One comment said, "You don't tell your fiancé anything, hun. You both discuss the situation and hear each other out." Because getting married, together forever, us not me, etc. You can ask her to agree that her sister should sit this one out, and God knows little sister is eminently deserving of a ban. Someone commented, "But I really encourage you to tread lightly. This is the beginning of your families being joined. It will be super hard to get back to a place of neutrality, let alone friendliness, if you choose not to invite the sister. Your hardline approach may also taint your relationship with your fiancé." Someone else said, "As someone who's previously dealt with some problematic future in-laws during wedding planning, I need to be super clear here that being offended by this person is not a satisfactory reason to try to unilaterally disinvite your partner's family members from your wedding. This speaks to a serious lack of diplomacy and conflict resolution skills on your part, as well as extreme short-sightedness. If you get your way on this, it won't be Lucy who suffers from missing your party. It'll be your wife who suffers because of the way you're trying to force her to alienate her immediate family rather than even considering a solution-oriented posture. Third story. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a few months now, and things are going really well. We share a lot of common interests, and even when we differ, we enjoy learning from each other. We've also set some boundaries, like keeping PDA to just holding hands and not bringing up each other's past unless it's mentioned first by said party. However, there's one small thing that really bothers me, even though it's not really that big of a deal. I get really anxious about phone calls. Whenever my phone rings, I instantly think there's something urgent or serious going on. I've talked to my boyfriend about it, and while he's the opposite and loves calling people, since he thinks it's quicker and more personal than texting, I've asked him to text me before calling if it's just for a casual conversation. This way, I can relax, knowing it's not an emergency, and decide if I'm available to talk. It's also helpful because if I'm in the middle of something, I can either finish what I'm doing or let him know I'll call him back later. When he calls without texting first, I get stressed, and I don't like letting it go to voicemail because I worry something's wrong. And thus, no matter what I'm doing, I will always stop everything to answer a call. A quick text helps me calm down. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to hear him on the phone. Just a text first would be nice. Recently, he called me without texting first, but it was for an emergency, so I didn't mind. However, since then, he's continued calling without texting, and while he apologizes when it happens, it still bothers me. I don't want to say anything because he's still dealing with said emergency that happened earlier, but I'm starting to feel upset. I'm unsure if I should just let it go since one, it's not a big deal, and two, it's part of his character to call instead of text, or if I should ask him to change this for me. It's a small thing, but it's starting to weigh on me a bit. Am I the asshole? Someone commented, "You're the asshole. How do you expect to be able to function in the real world if you're afraid of a phone call? Don't you have a job?" I worked with a guy in his early 20s that also was weird about phone calls, and it made it so I fucking hated working with him because it was so entitled and ridiculous. I'm probably going to get downvoted over this, but I don't care. Being afraid of a phone call is absolutely ridiculous. Get therapy. Someone else said, "You're the asshole." First off, if you only want your boyfriend to call you when there's an emergency, you're only going to reinforce this anxiety. Asking your boyfriend to reinforce that is incredibly immature. At least be self-aware. Secondly, you can always send a text in response to a ring and say, "1 sec" if you're busy. You're essentially making him ask for permission to call you. The call is already him asking to talk to you, which you can decline by hitting end or letting it go to voicemail. Now he's supposed to ask for permission to ask to talk to you? If you enjoyed the video today, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more r/am I the asshole stories. Don't forget all the stories we spoke about. The links are in the description below.